Morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Cindy.
How are you?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Okay, I can hear now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Nice.
all right.
It's nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Good.
So, just me?
So
Yeah.
far, but we got 1 minute. It's been pretty quiet at 8 o'clock on a Saturday lately.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to get up early.
Yep. It's better for me before the kids wake up. I tell them to sleep a little longer.
Yeah, it's good. I know. I like to practice early in the morning, but not everybody does. Yeah.
Yep.
That's all right. All right, well, it's 8 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started in our child's pose today. So finding Balasana on your mat, taking your knees wide, your big toes to touch, and your arms extending forward, and then allowing your forehead to rest onto the mat. And for this first child's pose, you can allow it to be passive, so the forearms can rest onto the mat. The forehead can rock gently from side to side. Gentle massage of your third eye, opening up intuition, wisdom, and even allowing the belly to be soft here. Finding some stillness and following the breath. Noticing your inhales and exhales and sensations in your body that come with the breath. Filling up your lungs on the inhale and letting them decompress and release on the exhale. Now, as you breathe into your body, think of breathing in between or into your back body. So allowing the space in between your shoulder blades to fill up as you inhale, and allowing it to decompress, to float down towards the mat as you exhale. So today's flow, we're going to focus on opening up the heart chakra, the Anahata. So maybe setting an intention with that in mind. One you can have is, I live with an open heart, or another one is, I am love. I give and receive love freely. Basically anything that comes to mind will do. With your next inhale, seal your intention in with a breath. And as you exhale, open the mouth inside out. Letting it go, letting it drift away, knowing you can come back to your intention at any point in time. You need guidance or motivation in your practice. Now, starting to make this a more active child's pose, start to reach the fingertips, inching them to the top of the mat as you send your hips back towards your heels. So the forearms are lifting off the mat. Shrug your shoulders away from your ears. Really press the fingertips into the mat, almost gripping the mat. Drawing your belly in towards your spine, so finding that Uddiyana Bandha, and then even engaging your pelvic floor muscles. Maybe start to find that slight constriction at the back of your throat, tapping into that Ujjayi breath. And with your next inhale, start to inch your fingertips even more forward to the top of your mat. And as you exhale, walking the hands over to the left corner of your mat, maybe even off your mat. Option to place your right hand on top of your left hand, opening up the right side of your body. And again, focus on breathing into your back body, the space in between your shoulder blades. Two more rounds of breath here. Next, inhale, walk your hands back through center. And as you exhale, take your hands off the mat towards the right side. Option to place the left hand on top of the right. Keeping equal weight in both hands, so left shoulder might need to lower down in line with the right. And then again, finding 3 rounds of breath, breathing into the space in your back body. Next, inhale, walking the hands back to center. Finding a finger bridge, so lifting the palms off the mat, the fingertips press into the earth as the palms lift. Forehead still grazes the earth, finding that length, that space in between every vertebrae. And then exhale, palms lower. Inhale, we rise to tabletop position. So shoulders stacked over those wrists, knees directly underneath of the hips. Starting to warm up the spine with some cat-cow. So inhale, belly lowers, heart lifts, gaze lifts, look to sky. Exhale, round the chin into the chest, and rounding through that upper body, pressing the hands into the mat. Inhale, belly lowers, heart lifts, gaze lifts. Exhale, chin to chest, rounding the spine, hollowing out the belly. So continuing on for a couple more rounds of cat and cow. Moving at your own pace, focusing on linking breath to the movement. And if there's any other movements that your body would like to take at this time, feel free to explore, maybe take some circles. Maybe stretch into the wrists by turning the fingertips back towards you, sitting back towards the heels. Just whatever feels good to you. We'll finish up in 2 more rounds of breath. And then finding our stillness here. So keeping your knees stacked underneath of your hips, we're going to walk the hands forward for puppy pose. So fingertips reach to the top of the mat as the chest and forehead lower. So tailbone is stacked right over top of the knees. And the forearms lower towards the earth. Now hollow out the belly, so navel to spine here, engaging your abdominals, protecting that low back. Now if your chest is easily touching and you feel like you have the space, you can lift your gaze and look in between your fingertips towards your thumbs, allowing your heart, your chest to melt down towards the earth. And being mindful and gentle, not to overdo it. It's allowing your body to open up with each exhale, with each breath. Next, it'll shift forward into Sphinx pose. So coming onto those forearms, the belly lowers. Elbows stacked underneath of your wrists, fingers are spread wide. Untucking the toes, drawing your heart forwards. So shoulders draw away from your ears. Now have a look at your left heel behind you. So stretching into the neck, the right side of the neck. Inhale, head comes back to center. Exhale, looking towards the right heel behind you. Inhale, center. Lower the chin into the chest, releasing the cervical spine. And warming up our core, so pressing into the tops of your feet for a modified forearm plank. So just finding some rounds of breath here. Engaging that core, think of drawing your ribs towards your hips towards your ribs, so transverse abdominis. Thighs are active here. Taking 1 more breath in. Make sure your gaze is in between your thumbs or your fingertips. And as you exhale, lower down onto the belly. Inhale, find your Sphinx, so drawing that heart forward. And then exhale, lower your chest all the way down to the mat. Hands will come back beside you, palms facing down. Now, if your back is healthy, you can bring your big toes to touch, so zipping up your feet. If not, and you have issues with your low back, you can take some space by opening up the heels to each corner of your mat. With your next inhale, lift your heart into your chest, pressing your hands down into the earth. Take a breath in. And then exhale, lower everything down. Inhale, this time lift your heart and your legs off the mat. So chest and legs are lifting. Keep pressing the hands into the mat, lengthening through the back of the neck. Taking one more breath in. And as you exhale, lower everything down. This time we'll lift everything off the mat, our chest, our legs, and our arms lift off the mat as we inhale. Shoulders draw away from ears, and then really focusing on length over height. Take one more breath in, see if you can lift up just a little bit higher. And then exhale, lowering your forehead down to the mat. Hands will come underneath the shoulders, fingertips in line with shoulders, tucking your toes under. So either pressing up to plank in a straight line, or feel free to use the knees if you need to. Wrists are stacked under shoulders, heels over top of toes. Everything is active here. Gazing 2 feet in front of your mat. Now walking your hands back to walking the hands back all the way to the back of your mat. So little tiny steps with those hands all the way to the back of the mat. And when you get there, feet should be hips distance or 2 fists width. And then bend your knees until your chest is resting on your thighs, taking a hold of those opposite elbows. Allowing your head, your neck, and your shoulders to relax, to hang heavy. So ragdoll here, maybe feeling a little bit of movement, rocking from side to side if that feels good. Shaking the head, yes. Shaking the head, no. Just letting any tension that you are holding on to drip right off the back of your head. And gently releasing your butt. We'll heel toe the feet back to touch. Inhale to halfway lift and lengthen. Find your flat back, Uttanasana. So palms to shin. Hollowing out the belly, lengthening the tailbone back as the crown of the head lengthens forward. And then exhale to fold. We'll do that again. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Uttanasana, flat back. And then exhale, we fold. Starting to walk the hands forward back into that high plank. And then lowering all the way down onto the belly for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So option to come back to the back bend we did the last time we were here. So palms come back beside your hips, palms facing down. And then lifting everything up on the inhale. If you feel you have this space you'd like to go further today, you can either take a hold of opposite elbows, forearms, or interlace the hands for Locust Pose. So next inhale, lifting everything off your feet, your chest. And then trying to draw the hands away from your glutes. Creating the length over height. So taking that crease out of the back of the neck. Core is active, glutes are active. Take one more breath in, lift higher. And then exhale, lower your forehead down. Hands will come underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. Pressing up to high plank, option to use the knees. And then as you exhale, find your downward facing dog. So first down dog of the day, you can pedal out the feet if that feels good, bending into one knee and then the next. Just inviting some space into the calf muscles, into those hamstrings. And then coming to a place of stillness where we find our alignment here. So focusing first on our hands, rooting into that Hasta Bandha, thumb and index finger first. Spiraling your elbow creases forwards. Shoulders draw away from the ears as you press into the floor to lift the hips higher. So navel to spine, untuck your tail. I'm starting to draw the heels back down towards the earth. If you have a slight bend in the knees, that's okay. If you have a tight low back or hamstring. The next inhale, lifting up high on the toes. And start to walk your tippy toes all the way to the top of your mat. Finding your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen to your flat back or Purvottanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, soft bend in the knees as you reach the hands up overhead, palms to touch, maybe even finding a gentle back bend. So lifting up and out of the thoracic spine. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Good. Inhale, arms reach up, catching the left wrist. Inhale, you lengthen. Exhale, we come down to the right side. So like we're coming down in between two panes of glass, rooting down through that left big toe, Paschimottanasana, opening up the left side of our body. Your gaze can look up to the sky, or maybe neutralize the gaze by looking forwards. Inhale, come back to center, switching the grip on your wrist. As you exhale, coming down to the left side, opening up right side body. Pressing down through right big toe. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, hinge and fold, swan dive forwards. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, flat back. Stepping back to your high plank, one leg at a time. So moving through that modified version of our vinyasa for slow flow. So lowering down to knees, chest, and chin first. And then inhale, draw your heart forward as you lower onto the belly. Lift everything up for baby cobra. Exhale, the chest lowers, tuck toes under, pressing up to plank or using the knees. And then exhale to your downward facing dog. Coming back to the breath, coming back to 3 rounds of breath. Next inhale, lift high on the toes, bend your knees, walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, flat back. Exhale, fold, soft bend in the knees. Inhale, arms reach up overhead, palms to touch. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Samasthiti. Now taking your hands back behind you on top of your glutes, fingertips pointing down. So engaging your core, your glutes, pressing down through all 4 corners of the feet as you lift your heart and chest. Now maybe staying here as you start to lift your chest to the sky, or maybe starting to look back for the wall behind you, finding that gentle back bend. Good. Staying strong in the legs and the core. Inhale, come back to center. Head is the last thing to come back. And then exhale, hinge and fold, finding the bind behind you. If that's not accessible to you, you can find opposite elbows, or you can even release your hands to the ground. If you need a little bit more stability, you can find the feet hips distance apart. And now try to feel this into the pectoral muscles. So drawing your shoulder blades in towards one another, so squeezing in between shoulder blades. And then drawing the palms, the wrists forwards and away from you. And when you're ready, gently releasing your bind. Heel toe your feet back to touch. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Stepping back, finding your high plank, one leg at a time. So option to find that modified flow, knees, chest, and chin, or lowering down to Chaturanga Dandasana. So arms head beside body, shoulders do not dip below elbows. Inhale to upward facing dog, thighs stay lifted off the mat, pressing the tops of the feet into the earth. The hands are pressing, lifting the heart, the chest, looking up to sky. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Finding 3 rounds of breath. Resetting and reconnecting with the breath. Next, inhale, finding your three-legged dog. So extending the right leg high to sky, pointing the toe, maybe starting to circle the ankle 3 times in one direction and 3 times in the opposite direction. Bending your knee, so heel into seat. Start to find that external rotation in the right hip. So stacking the right hip on top of the left, keeping both fingertips pointing forward. So equal weight in both hands here. So core is active, engaging that right glute, seeing if the heel can lift higher, or your knee lifts higher than your heel. And then as you inhale, straighten the legs, squaring the hips. Exhale, knee to nose for cheetah. So rounding everything into a nice tight little ball and hold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale back to 3-point. Exhale, stepping the right foot in between your hands, finding your low runner's lunge. So drawing your heart forward, allowing those hips to settle, and then as you exhale, lower onto the back knee and untuck the toes. And inhale, rise for low crescent lunge, Anjayasana. So arms reach up overhead. So option to place the hands, keeping the hands up, or you can place the hands into those jean pockets. So on top of the glutes, fingertips pointing down. Elbows drawing together, lifting the heart, the chest, maybe opening up the heart, the back. Maybe seeing the ceiling, or maybe even looking for the wall behind you. Engaging everything through the midline of the body and the lower body to stay stabilized here. Inhale, coming back through center. And then exhale, hands to frame the front foot. You can also use blocks. You need a little bit more space if you have those, or soup cans or books, whatever you have. Shifting the hips back for half splits. So right toes lift towards the shin. Right hip draws back, left hip draws forward. And now take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, finding your cat spine. Inhale, cow spine. Draw your heart forward and lift your gaze. Exhale, cow spine. Cat spine, sorry. Inhale, cow. Exhale to cat. Next, inhale, shifting forwards, finding your low runner's lunge. Exhale to easy twist. Left hand to the inside of the foot or a block. The right hand reaches up. So stacking those collarbones on top of one another. Squeezing your outer glutes together. Lowering onto the bottom knee, untucking the toes. Keeping the upper body exactly where it is. As you inhale, rise arms to a T, keeping that twist. So drawing the low body together towards one another. And then inhale for exalted variation. So right hand to the back of the left thigh. Left hand reaches up, shining your heart up to the sky. Maybe your gaze follows the left fingertips. Exhale to cartwheel your hands down, frame your front foot, tucking your back toes under to elevate the back knee. Shifting forward to grounded warrior 3. So left heel in line with left hip. Your back foot is flexed like you're stepping on the wall behind you. Walking the fingertips back in line with the toes, trying to keep those palms flat. If you can use blocks if you need to. Drawing the chest towards the thigh, the forehead to the shin. And then lunging the left foot back, right foot to meet the right, finding your high plank. Option to lower down to knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale, gently making your way back to your downward facing dog. Coming back to the breath. Inhale, left leg rises to 3-point. Pointing the toes, starting to circle the ankle 3 times in one direction and 3 times in the other direction. Bending the knee, peeling that hip open so left hip stacks on top of right. Engaging your left glute, knee higher than ankle, making sure that you have equal weight in that left hand as much as the right. Next, inhale, straighten the legs, square the hip. Exhale, draw knee to nose for cheetah. Drawing everything in, maybe forehead to knee for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3-point. Exhale to step your foot in between your hands to low runner's lunge. So high on the back toes. As you inhale, draw your heart forward. Allow hips to settle here. Next, exhale, lower onto the bottom knee and untuck the toes. Inhale, arms reach up overhead, low crescent lunge on Jayasana. So option to take the same variation we did the other time we were here. So hands on top of the glutes, fingertips pointing down. Perhaps you'd like to go further. Maybe interlace the hands and find a bind. So inhale, start to lift the heart, the chest. Engage your outer glutes, draw everything towards the midline to stabilize. Maybe see the wall behind you. Inhale, starting to come back up. And then framing that front foot, setting the hips back, Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits, left toes to shins. Flexing those toes, drawing left hip back, right hip slightly forwards. So hands can come to blocks if you need to. Finding that cat-cow spine, so take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, finding that cat, that rounded spine. Inhale, heart draws forward for cow. Exhale to cat, pressing the hands into the mat, rounding the spine. Exhale, cow pose. Or inhale, exhale into your cat. And then inhale, shifting forward, finding that low runner's lunge. So the back knee is lifted. As you exhale, easy twist. Right hand to the inside of the front foot, left hand reaches up. Maybe following the fingertips, bringing your gaze to your elevated hand, squeezing your glutes together, twisting open your heart. And then exhale, lower onto the back knee, untuck the toes, keeping your upper body exactly where it is. Inhale, rise with arms to a T. Everything's nice and stable here. And then finding your exalted. So left hand to the back of right thigh, right hand reaches up, opening up your heart to sky. Exhale, cartwheel your hands forward, finding your low runner's lunge. So back knee elevates, the toes tuck. Shifting forward, grounded warrior 3, right leg in line with right hip, toes pointing down, fingertips walking back towards you. Drawing your chest to your thigh, forehead to shin. Lunging the right foot back behind you, left foot to meet the right, finding that high plank. Option to lower to knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Now feel free to take a cleansing breath if it feels good. In through the nose. Open the mouth side out. Allowing the breath to settle, to come back to normal. Next, inhale, right leg rises, finding your 3-point. Bending the knee, peeling that hip open here. Now exhale, right knee to right elbow, so mountain climber prep. Inhale, back to your 3-point, peeling hip open. Exhale, twisted cheetah, tapping your left tricep. Inhale, 3-point. Exhale, knee to nose and hold for 3, 2, 1. Unchain from the knee, so stepping your foot forward, finding your low runner's lunge. So left foot down, left hand down, right hand rises, finding that easy twist. So opening up, looking up towards the elevated hand, Engaging the lower body, so engaging your outer glutes, keeping everything stable. Upper body where it is, rise arms to a T. So really challenging here, drawing everything in. Next, inhale, finding your exalted. Right hand to the back of the thigh, left hand reaches up. Opening up the heart space, gazing towards the left fingertips. Exhale to warrior two. So cartwheel the hands, back heel spins to 90 degrees. Finding that 90-degree bend in the front knee. Arms are to a T, shoulder blades hugged together, and opening up the heart, bringing your gaze, your drishti to the right fingertips. Flip the right palm, inhale, reach up and back to peaceful warrior. So keeping that deep bend in the front knee. Maybe your back hand can come to the low back, opening up even more. And then exhale into your modified side angle, right forearm to thigh. Left hand can reach up to sky. If you like to go further, start to draw the fingertips forwards. The bicep is beside the ear. And instead of dumping the weight into your right thigh, you want to press into the forearm to help spiral that heart open. So drawing the left hip, right hip underneath of you. Inhale, rise, warrior two, arms to a T. Find your drishti, your gaze. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Frame your front foot. Your back heel spins, lift the heel up. Now shifting forward for warrior three with airplane arm variation. So find your balance first and then lift your heart, your chest. Fingertips back towards the back wall. Engaging your core, using your core to help hold you up here. Lengthen through the back of the neck. And then bending into the front knee, the left leg lunges back behind you, hands to the ground. Inhale, right leg high, 3-point. From here, start to walk the hands back towards the toes. So finding a grounded warrior three. Fingertips in line with toes. Chest to thigh, forehead to shin. Next, exhale, Krishna's dance. So crossing the right foot behind the left. Two big toes are touching. Allowing the head, neck, and shoulders to relax. Walking the hands over to the left side. Getting into the IT bend. So maybe a bend into the left knee. Finding the breath. And then walking the hands over to that right side. Lifting up high in the toes, unraveling so you're facing the back of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. You can step or you can float back to your floating to Chaturanga as opposed to high plank, or you can modify knees, chest, and chin. So taking whatever flow works best for you. And now you can even skip flows as well. You can come right into your down dog if you need a little bit more rest. Finding your breath once again in your down dog, resetting. Inhale, right leg rises, that would be your left leg. Left leg rises, 3-point. Bend the knee and peel that hip open so left is stacked on top of right. Exhale to mountain climber press, so left knee to left tricep. Looking over at your left knee, using your core. Moving nice and slow, coming back to that hip open here. Exhale, twisted cheetah, tapping the right tricep with the left knee. Inhale to 3-pointed dog. Exhale, knee to nose and hold for 3, 2, 1. Step your foot in between your hands. Finding your low runner's lunge as you inhale. Exhale, easy twist. Right hand down to the inside of the front foot. Left hand reaches up. So allowing those hips to melt down towards the earth. Engaging the glutes as you spin your heart open to the sky. And now grounding down through both feet. Engage your core. We're going to rise arms to a T. So squeezing those inner thighs together. Finding your exalted, left hand to the back of the right thigh, right hand reaches up. Good, next, inhale, cartwheel your hands open to warrior two. So making sure you have that front heel to back arch alignment, deep bend in the front knee, 90 degrees. Bringing your gaze, your drishti to your left fingertips. Flipping the palm, inhale, reach up and back to peaceful. Right hand reaching towards your heel and maybe bringing it to your low back. Giving yourself a little bit of support, seeing if you can deepen the bend in the front knee. Exhale, a modified side angle, left arm to thigh, right hand reaches up or over, bicep beside the ear. Drawing your right shoulder blade back down into its pocket, swallow your heart open. Next inhale, rise, warrior two. Stay strong in the legs, we're almost there. Exhale to cartwheel your hands down, bring your front foot high on the back toes, low runner's lunge. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, grounded warrior three. So grounded warrior three to begin with, and then lift the heart and the chest, find your airplane warrior three. So finding that balance, that stability, the core is working, it's active here. Back leg is active. Good. Bending through the front knee, lunging the right toes back behind you, hands to the ground, inhale, left leg high, 3-point. And then keeping the leg where it is, walking the hands back towards the toes, finding your grounded warrior three. Chest to thigh, forehead to shin. Hollowing out the belly. And then exhale, Krishna's dance, left foot behind the right. Two pinky toes are touching. So walking the hands over to the right side, getting into that IT band. Relax the head, the neck, the shoulders. Walking your hands over towards the left, lifting high on the toes, unraveling, facing the top of your mat. Inhale to halfway lift and lengthen, flat back. You can float back to chaturanga, you can step back to high plank, you can exhale to down dog. So just finding whatever variation suits you in your practice, knowing that every day is different. Honoring your body and where you're at today. Coming back to your 3 rounds of breath. Next, inhale, right leg rises, 3-point. Bend your knee and peel that hip open. Exhale to mountain climber. Option to fly for 5 or hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3-point, peeling that hip open. Exhale, twisted cheetah. Option to extend to fallen star for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left hand down. Inhale, right leg high, 3-point. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. Inhale, draw your heart forward, low runner's lunge. Exhale to easy twist, left hand down, right hand rises. Good, engage your lower body, your core. Keep the arms where they are, rise, arms to a T. Inhale to exalted. Right hand to the back of the left thigh, opening up the heart, looking to sky. Good, warrior two, back heel spins. Arms to a T, finding your gaze, your drishti, that deep bend in the front knee. Flipping the right palm. Inhale, reach up and back, peaceful warrior. So finding whatever variation suits you. And then exhale, extended side angle. Left hand to the inside of the front foot, left arm reaches up. So option to stay here, maybe streamline the arm forward. You can find a bind, or you can move into bird of paradise. So finding 5 rounds of your breath. Allowing the asana to teach you what it needs to. Whatever comes up onto that, don't attach the story, just let it go on the out breath. Next inhale, rise, warrior two. Find your drishti, your gaze. And then straighten the bend in the front knee. Exhale, Trikonasana. So reaching forwards and down. Right hand to the shin, left hand reaches up. Like you're coming down in between those two panes of glass. So you want to challenge yourself. You bring your fingertips to the inside of your right foot. Little to no weight on those fingertips. So using your core to help hold you up. Maybe even extending the right arm out to the front of the room. Maybe the left arm. Next, inhale, rise, finding your warrior two. Exhale to frame your front foot. Back heel spins, finding that low runner's lunge. Take a breath in. Exhale to warrior three. So option this time to find a bind. So interlace the hands back behind you. Open up the heart. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Gazing about 4 feet in front of your mat. Good, bending through the right knee, tucking the back toes under, lunging back, hands to the ground. Inhale, find your 3-point. Now walking hands to the back of your mat for standing splits. So this time we want to point the toe, lift the leg as high as we can to the sky. Bringing your chest towards your thigh, your forehead to your shin. Trying to square the hip as much as you can. Maybe finding balance, left hand can come to the back of the left ankle, maybe right fingertips up to the sky. Maybe handstand hops if that's in your practice. And then exhale to Krishna stance. So crossing the right behind the left. And then walking the hands over to the right side, lifting up high on the toes. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, flat back. Stepping back to your high plank. This time lowering onto the belly for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way down. Extending your left arm in front of you, so reaching it to the top of your mat. The right hand comes back behind you, bending the right heel into the seat, taking a hold of the pinky toe side of the right foot. Next, inhale, kicking the foot into the hand, the shin to the back wall, lifting the fingertips off the earth, maybe even lifting the left leg off for half bow pose. So finding the length over height, strong right leg, kicking into that hand, lift a little bit higher, and then exhale, lower down. Both hands down by your sides, looking over to that right side. Allowing the left ear and cheekbone to rest into the mat. And when you're ready, bringing your gaze back forward. Right hand reaches to the top of your mat this time. Left hand back, left heel into your seat, reaching for the pinky toe side of your left foot. Good. Next inhale, we lift and kick the left foot into the hand, lift the heart to chest, the right arm lifts. Maybe even lifting the right leg off the mat for a half bow. Good, keep pressing and kicking the shin away from you. Keep lengthening. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, lowering down, right ear into the mat, looking to the left side. 2 big toes to touch, arms down by your sides. Finding some rest here. Maybe it feels good to just rock the hips from side to side, giving your low back a little bit of a release as you wiggle, and coming back into stillness. Hands come underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, firm the core, pressing up to your high plank. So option to exhale to down dog, or move through that vinyasa if you choose. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, sigh something out, let it go. Next inhale, left leg rises, 3-point. Bend the knee, stacking that hip, peeling that hip open. Exhale to mountain climber and holding here or flying. The arm balance for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3-point. Coming back to that peeled hip open. Exhale, twisted cheetah. Option to extend to fallen star for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, left leg high, 3-point. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands, finding that low runner's lunge. So inhale, draw your heart forward. Exhale, easy twist, right hand to the inside of the front foot, left hand reaches high. Next inhale, we rise, arms to a T, stabilize the low body, engage outer glutes, twisting open. Inhale, exalted. Left hand to the back of the thigh, looking up to sky. Opening up, warrior 2, arms to a T, back heel spins to 90. Deep bend in the front knee, find your gaze or drishti, left fingertips, flip the palm. Inhale, reach up and back to peaceful. Finding whatever variation you did on the other side. And then exhale, extended side angle, left hand to the inside of the front foot or blocks. Right hand reaches up. Maybe bicep beside the ear, draw the shoulder blade back down into its pocket as you spiral the heart open. The left hip tucks under, maybe moving into that bind or bird of paradise. Being okay to stay in this asana for 5 rounds of breath. Trying to find that edge and then softening there. Allowing the effort to be in the body and not in the breath. Allowing the breath to flow. Next inhale, rise, warrior 2, stay strong, find your gaze, your drishti. Straighten the bend in the front knee, exhale, Trikonasana. The left hand onto the shin, right hand reaches up. Challenging ourselves, perhaps left fingers in front of the arch of the left foot, little to no weight in the fingertips. Right hip draws back, left hip tucks under, stacking collarbones. Maybe extending the left arm forwards. Maybe right arm, so you're holding onto that beach ball. Next inhale, rise, warrior 2. And then cartwheeling your hands down, framing the front foot, back heel spins. Moving into warrior 3 with the arms bound behind or maybe airplane variation. So lengthen through the back of the neck. Pressing the right foot like you're stepping on the wall behind you. Now lunge the foot back behind you. Hands touch the ground. Inhale, left leg high, 3-point. Walking your hands back towards you, finding your standing split. So the left toes reach up to the sky. Trying to square your hips as much as you can. Fingertips in line with toes. But drawing your chest to thigh, forehead to shin. Maybe right hand to the back of the right ankle, left hand reaches out, finding some balance here, or moving into those handstand hops if that is in your practice today. Next, exhale, Krishna stance. So left foot tucks behind the right, 2 pinky toes to touch. Release the head and neck. Walking hands over to the left, lifting high on the toes. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Stepping back to your high plank. Lowering all the way down onto the belly for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then once you get there, setting up for bow pose. So full bow pose or half, whatever's in your practice, we'll be doing it twice. So yogi's choice. If you're going into full bow, heels in towards the seat, hands reach back to the outsides of the feet, so the pinky toe side of the feet. Now make sure that you have hips distance between your heels and your knees and your ankles are parallel. Next, inhale, kicking your shin to the back wall, hands into the feet, lift the heart, the chest. So come into that breath. Remember to breathe here. Take one more breath in, see if you can lift just a little bit higher. And then exhale, lower the left ear into the mat, looking towards the right. 2 big toes to touch, arms down by your sides. Find your rest and find your breath. So setting up for second side of bow or second set of bow. So if you did the right side on the other, doing the left side here or taking the full variation. Another option is to keep the feet flexed, bringing the hands to the ankles. So if you're doing this variation though, you want to make sure that the tops of your thighs are staying connected to the earth. So next, inhale, kicking the shins back to lift the heart and chest, and the thighs keep pressing down towards the earth. Now engage your core to protect the low back here. Always engaging core and back bends. Lift the heart, the chest. Find 3 rounds of breath. One more inhale, lift higher. And then exhale, lower everything down nice and slow, looking towards the left, right ear, cheekbone into the mat. 2 big toes to touch. Finding some stillness here. If it feels good, you can windshield wiper legs from side to side or maybe wiggle the hips. And when you're ready, hands come underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes from your core, finding your high plank. Option to exhale, down dog, or find that vinyasa flow. Coming back to the breath. Next, inhale, right leg rises, 3-point. Bending the knee, peeling that hip open. So option to stay or flip your dog here. So if you're flipping your dog, all 10 toes facing the back walls, you lift your hips, feet are parallel. Palm faces up, looking for the wall behind you. Maybe moving into wheel if that's in your practice. And then when you're ready, unflip your dog, right hand lowers, inhale, right leg high, 3-point. And then exhale, step your left foot forward, find your low runner's lunge. Left foot meets the right to forward fold. Next, inhale, bend your knees, graze the ground, Utkatasana chair, so hips lower towards your heels. Lift your heart, your chest. Engage your inner thighs. Moving into warrior 3, so the left foot will come back behind you, arms back, airplane variation. If you want to challenge, you can extend your arms forward, interlace the hands, release thumb and index finger, and point the back toes. So using your core to hold you up, lunging back with the left foot, inhale, rise, finding that high crescent lunge. And then exhale, twisting to the right, left elbow to the outside of the right thigh, 2 palms pressing together, hollowing out your belly, looking over your right shoulder. Next, inhale, we rise, high crescent. Arms reach up overhead. The mat is a little bit funny on this carpet here. Arms reach up overhead, high crescent. And then finding your stork, left knee into the chest. Hollowing out the belly, left leg in towards you. And setting up for dancer. So left leg comes back behind you, taking a hold of the inside of the front of the back foot to the arch of the left foot. Take a breath in, 2 knees are touching. And then exhale, hinge and fold to your dancer. So bring your gaze beyond the right fingertips, lifting your heart, kicking your shin to the back wall as you reach forwards. So reaching in opposing directions here. Gently release where you are, coming into your eagle. So left foot, left leg over right, and then left arm swings under for eagle arms. If you don't have that in your practice, taking a hold of opposite shoulders. See if you can sink your hips just a little bit lower. And then gently unraveling into Ardha Chandrasana half moon. So the left foot comes back behind you. The right hand to the ground or to a block, stacking that left hip on top of the right, flexing the back foot like you're stepping on the back while left hand reaches up. So option for a bind here, or maybe staying where you are. Maybe challenging the gaze, the balance, Looking up to the elevated hand, maybe lifting the bottom hand off the mat. Next, exhale, forward fold, left foot meets the right, and let it go. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Stepping back to your flow, or maybe moving into down dog, and finding the breath. Still being mindful to link one breath per movement as you flow in your vinyasa. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and exhale, sigh something out. Inhale, left leg rises, 3-point. Bending the knee to peel that hip open. So you can stay here or you can flip your dog. So lifting hips high to sky, palm faces up, see the wall behind you. Hips are lifted. Unflipping your dog when you're ready, left hand down, left leg up, 3-point. Exhale, step the left foot in between your hands, low runner's lunge, and then followed by the right to forward fold. Next, inhale, bend the knees, grace the ground, Utkatasana, chair pose. So pressing down into those heels as you reach up through the hands. Good, inner thighs and ankles squeezing together, hollowing out the belly, slight tuck of the tail. Good, next exhale, finding your airplane variation of warrior 3. And then if you did on the other side, extending the hands forward for that challenge with your core, interlacing the hands, thumb and index finger crossing the thumbs, index fingers release, pointing the back toes. Gently lunging back, finding your high crescent lunge. So moving nice and slow, like we're moving through honey. And then exhale to the twist, right elbow to the outside of the left thigh, 2 palms pressing together. Good, left looking over left shoulder, squeezing through the midline of the low body, twisting heart open. Next, inhale, high crescent lunge, arms reach up overhead. Trying to stay stable here. Next, inhale to stork, right knee into the chest, hollowing out the belly. See if you can lift that leg just a little bit higher. Now moving into dancer, the right leg comes back behind you, taking a hold of the pinky toe side of the foot. Take a breath in, touch your knees together, lift your heart, your chest, and exhale, hinge forward. So the grip is to the arch of the foot. So the inside of the right foot. Good. Keep reaching in opposing directions. Moving into Purvottanasana, eagle pose. Right thigh crosses over the left. Right arm swings under. Maybe double cross if you have the space. Maybe hands to the shoulders. And twisting everything up into the midline of the body. Squeezing it in. Seeing if you can sink just a little bit lower. Moving into that tricky transition, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So opening up, left hand down to the block or the floor, right hand reaches up. Good, twisting your heart to the side, maybe challenging the gaze. Maybe lifting the bottom hand off the mat. Maybe finding that bind. Good. A couple more rounds of breath. And then exhale, forward fold, let it go. Separate your feet, hips distance apart. Padagustasana, binding peace fingers to big toes. So inhale, lift and lengthen, hollow out the belly, navel to spine. Engage quads. Exhale, hinge and fold, elbows draw out. The glutes are active here as you fold forward, inching the crown of your head towards the earth. Good, releasing the shoulders away from the ears, so shoulders drop up, crown of the head lengthens down. Inhale, halfway, lift and lengthen. Exhale there. Inhale, stepping onto the palms of the hands with the soles of the feet. So gorilla, Paschimottanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. Engaging those glutes, hollowing out the belly. Crown of the head, inching towards the earth, ears between shins one day. Shoulders away from ears. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, strengthening your core. And then exhale there. Release the hands on your inhale. Heel toe your feet back to touch. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, flat back. Stepping back to your high plank. Last vinyasa flow of practice, maybe shifting back into down dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in through the nose. Exhale, sigh something out. Now lifting up high on the toes. Walking to the top of your mat, finding your knees, lowering down all the way. So we're going to set up for Strossen, Camel Pose. So you can lift up onto the shins. Make sure you have 2 fist widths between your knees and your ankles. And then lifting up. So pressing the hands into your low back. So those jean pockets are on top of the glutes, fingertips pointing down. Now pressing down with the shins into the mat, engage your inner thigh, start to lift the heart, the chest, look up to sky. Maybe this is as far as you stay today. Maybe you start to feel comfortable to release the gaze to the back wall. You can stay here if you have the space. You can start to reach the hands back behind you, taking a hold of the ankles. And then finding your breath, keep pressing your shins down, your pelvis forward, lifting up through the chest. Shoulders away from your ears. Glutes are slightly active, core engaged. To coming out exactly the same way you went in, so support your low back, and then gently lifting up vertebrae by vertebrae until you reach the top. Gently lowering your seat onto your heels, taking a moment to close your eyes to find the breath. So big heart opener. Our heart center is our seat of our emotions. So sometimes when we expose the front side of our body, we can release a lot of things we've been carrying around. And just know that that's normal, just letting them go on the out breath and not attaching to them. And when you're ready, fluttering your eyes open, setting up for second set of Camel Pose. So coming back up onto the shins. Good. Tailbone lengthens down, pressing the shins into the mat, lifting up through the heart, the chest, hands on the tops of the glutes, elbows hugging together. Good. Start to look back, seeing the wall behind you, maybe staying here, maybe going further. Maybe if your hands are almost reaching, you can tuck those toes under, reaching for the ankles. Whatever works best for you. Finding that breath, keep pressing your hip points forward, lifting up through thoracic spine, finding 3 more rounds of breath. When you're ready to come out, hands to the low back to support you, engage your glutes, your core, lifting everything up nice and slow, vertebrae by vertebrae. Lowering down onto your seat. Good, hands to the tops of your thighs, close your eyes, take a moment to notice how you feel. Coming back to the breath. Allowing the energy to flow in and out of your heart center. Being open to give and receive love freely. Living your life with an open heart. Fluttering your eyes open, bringing your knees and ankles together, doing our counter pose for rabbit. So taking a hold of those ankles, those heels behind you, lifting up through the heart. Now starting to round down, hollow out the belly. Forehead comes in towards the knees. So hands to the outsides of the ankles. Now lifting hips up, but not placing any pressure on the crown of the head. So it should be very little pressure here. The strength of this pose, the power comes from the legs. So you're lifting your hips, your hands are active. Your hands are reaching for those ankles as you lift those hips higher. Now breathing into that back body, opening up the space between your mid and upper back, the space behind your heart. And gently lowering your hips down to your heels, vertebrae by vertebrae, lifting yourself up. Crown of the head is the last thing to come up. Good. Hands come forward to tabletop, crossing at the ankles, sending your hips back. Finding your Dandasana, so legs to the top of your mat, hands beside your hips, lift and lengthen the spine, the heart. And as you inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge and fold, Paschimottanasana. So placing the hands to the outsides of the feet, peace fingers to big toes, the ankles, the shins, whatever works for you. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Hollow out the belly. Exhale, hinge and fold down. Maybe forehead to shin or chin to shin. Next, inhale, lift halfway. Hollow out the belly. Exhale there. And then inhale, rise all the way back up. Hands come back behind you. Fingertips pointing towards you. Setting up for reverse plank or Purvottanasana. Next, inhale, lift your hips. Press the soles of your feet into the earth as you lift your gaze to the ceiling. You have a healthy neck, looking at the wall behind you, lifting hips higher. Keep pressing the feet into the sky. Next, exhale, lower the hips, lifting your heart and your chest. Drawing the heels towards your seat one at a time, scooting yourself up to the top of your mat, wrapping your arms around your shins, giving yourself a little hug for a job well done. Taking a moment to honor yourself and your body for everything it does for you on a daily basis. And having gratitude for your heart as it beats for you every single day. Lifting your gaze when you're ready, extending the arms forward, hollowing out the belly. We're lower down onto the spine for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Arms come to a T. Lifting up the legs, so tabletop on your back. Crossing your right thigh over your left, allowing your legs to fall over to the left side. So finding that supine twist. If this bothers your low back, you can release the legs and just bend both knees into your chest. Now, if you'd like to incorporate your heart meridian, you can extend your right arm up to the sky and then allowing that right shoulder blade to relax down towards the earth. So letting go of any tension you have in your body, allowing the muscles to release away from the bone. And then imagine that you have a 200-pound weight on your right hand as it melts down in towards the earth. Your shoulder begins to melt down in towards the earth. When you're ready, start to bring your knees back into center, uncrossing, unraveling the legs, arms to a T, crossing the left leg over the right this time, and letting the legs fall to that right side. So right hand can come to the top of the left thigh, You can look towards the left fingertips or incorporate the heart meridian for a yin variation of your supine twist by extending the arm up overhead. Now if you're doing this variation, relaxing the muscles, allowing everything to release here. Imagine you're holding that heavy weight on your left hand. As it releases and relaxes towards the earth, the shoulder starts to melt away from the ear. Breathing through any discomfort. Knowing that whatever you can breathe through in your mat and your asana practice, you can learn to breathe through in your everyday life. And when you're ready, gently releasing the hands, using the core to bring the legs back through center, unraveling the legs. Finding waterfall or happy baby. So taking a hold of the soles or the outsides of the feet or peace fingers to big toes. Knees come down to the outsides of the rib cage. Lengthen your low back onto the earth. If the low back is lifting, slide your hands down to your ankles or your shins. Gently rock from side to side. Massage that low back. Now drawing the knees into the chest for Hanumanasana, wrapping the hands around the shins. Good. Inhale, bringing the forehead towards your knees. Making that nice tight little ball, and as you exhale, lower the head, neck, and shoulders. Releasing the legs to the top of your mat. Hands floating down beside you. Your legs can take up as much space as you like. Gently tucking and rolling your shoulder blades underneath of you to open up that heart space. Allowing the breath to move slowly, the energy to move through your heart freely. And just noticing how you might feel different now as opposed to when you started your practice. Finish with a cleansing breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and shush it out. Release and relax. And then just challenging yourself to stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you can. Giving yourself the gift, allowing your body to soak up the benefits of your practice. Thank you so much, yogis, for being with me today. The light in me honors and sees the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.